Welcome to A Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today, we're sampling a selection of beers created when breweries, and very much not breweries, collaborate. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Sup?
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us.
Cool. So excited, slightly nervous about the first one that we're drinking. I already know what the beer tastes like.
This is the one that's going to make you nervous. This one.
Well, I'm not even like nervous because I know what it tastes like. I'm not necessarily looking forward.
Right. So I suppose we should actually clarify to the listeners in case they didn't pick up from the intro what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
So you may have seen, dear listeners and watchers, that breweries, particularly a certain Northern Monk brewery, like to do collaboration beers with like people that don't make beer.
Sometimes it's random.
Sometimes it's really random, like Ron Seal beers.
We'll get to that.
That's particularly weird. But there's been quite a few popping up where breweries have made beers that either reflect the flavours of that product or might even contain that product. So we're going to look at a few of those today.
Yeah, so worth noting, I think like we originally wanted to do this episode quite a while ago. The first time I had the idea that we should do this was back when it was the Seven Brothers did the collaboration with the pizza, and I think we sort of touched upon that at another time in the past.
Yeah, we did savoury beers, I think.
We did savoury beers, but so many more coming from the brewery that rhymes with schmorther and schmunk have come up with these like random collaborations, and we managed to get some more actually at our fingertips. One of the ones I think we mentioned I actually got hands on when I went to the US, which is going to be our first beer, so we might as well go right into that. And that is Yingling's Hershey's chocolate porter.
I'm excited.
So I'm not going to say anything because I want to know what you think of it.
Don't dull my sparkle.
I'm not dulling your sparkle.
And she also brought back
no, I didn't bring this back. Shout out to my work because they go to Costco and pick up things at Costco, and apparently they used to get these all the time for our kitchen, and they stopped getting them for a while, and then they popped up again, and I was like, please, for a podcast episode, may I steal 2 of these? I was like, I will pay for them. And they were like, I will go ahead and just let you have them. And I was like, oh, thank you. So shout out to my work. I'm not going to name where I work, but I want to name where I work because they're amazing, but I'm not going to do it for GDPR reasons. So
we're going to start with some Hershey's chocolate milk.
Yeah, I would have brought you actual Hershey's, but I did actually bring those to my office, and it was for a piss take, and we'll talk about why it was for a piss take.
Hershey's
you want to do
like
beer first before you have the Hershey's?
No, I think we should do the product first.
Do you not want to have a sip of that, then have that to know what it tastes like? Because once you have that, you might go, it might change your feeling on what this tastes like. So what do you get immediately from that?
So I'm getting dark bitter chocolate.
Yeah.
A little bit of roastiness.
I'd say like
which you would expect from a porter. There might be a little bit of tobacco.
Cacao. And I get like it's really like dark chocolate cocoa powder. And I do actually think for me, I've grown up with having like, as a kid, we had Hershey's like chocolate mix and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't really ever have it in my house. We had the syrup, the squeezy bottle syrup, but I never had the actual powder, I don't think, or not often. That's what it smells like to me, is the powder. So what do you think of your first sip?
I like it. It's a chocolatey porter. I can happily drink a few of those. I don't mind Yingling lager though either.
I like Yingling. So that's the thing. I'm going to preface this with I like Yingling.
Yeah.
And I do find like afterwards it leaves a dark chocolate for me. It leaves a dark chocolate
linger
aftertaste.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. I'm a dark beer lover. And because it's a porter, it's slightly lighter. Like it's not rich and heavy, and you only want to kind of have one of it. Like you could drink a few of those. and be quite happy. Like, I'm imagining sat out in a chair out in the garden, maybe in the evening with a little fire pit going.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm withholding my thoughts for the moment, because I've had this before. I had it when I went back at Christmas. I'm having it again, so I'm withholding my feelings on it at the moment. But before you sip on it anymore, have some of your Hershey's chocolate milk.
I'm just drinking it out of the carton.
I poured it because I took a photo.
Chocolate milk.
It does taste like chocolate milk, although it leaves like a a coating in my mouth.
Yeah, but I feel like that's so, you know, being someone that grew up on dairy milk, when I had American chocolate, I was like, what is this? So why is there this weird waxy taste? Because it's made with wax.
Big controversial chocolate debate. So I know we have people that listen from the US, and I know we have people that listen from the UK at a bare minimum, and I know that chocolate culture in those two places are very different. Literally, I grew up having Hershey's, like having that on S'mores. I'll talk about it in a minute, but I've been to Hershey Park in Pennsylvania and went to the Hershey Museum, and like Hershey Kisses is like such a normal thing to have in the US.
So I don't mind a Hershey's Kiss because it's flavored, so it's not just chocolate.
Yeah, I'm not going to be, I mean, maybe it's controversial, but I don't think it's that controversial over here. Maybe to our US listeners. Yeah, I don't like Hershey's Kisses.
You don't like I like Hershey's Pumpkin Kisses.
I used to like Hershey's Kisses before I moved over here and had real chocolate.
I like them because they taste of pumpkin, and we don't get pumpkin chocolate over here.
To be fair, I will have like flavored Hershey Kisses, like not just. So what I brought back to elaborate on what I said earlier, which was about the Hershey Kisses, and the fact that I brought them back as a piss take, was like I really struggled when I went back to the US to find something to take back.
Right.
For the office, that I was like, what can't you really get over here, and what is something that would be interesting for people to try? I don't know, let's see. And I really struggled because I wanted it to be something that was like American and not British or English, like European or anything like that. And I was like, what can I have? And there was very few things that could actually travel well. So like, especially from Boston, I was like, I can't take you lobsters. I cannot take you clam chowder. I cannot take you a Boston cream pie. I cannot take you baked beans. I guess I probably could have taken like a can of Boston baked beans maybe, but I was like,
can't do Boston cream donuts.
I couldn't take you donuts. Like, there were so many things that I could not take that were either.
You brought me home Sam Adams, and that just made me happy.
I did. I guess I could have brought Sam Adams, but I didn't want to like take to the office and be like, have a 24 pack. And also I couldn't fit that much.
So I would have been jealous.
It wouldn't have lasted very long.
How dare you give the 24 pack to your work and not to me?
Yeah, it was just a whole thing. And to be honest, I didn't have room in my suitcase for any more bit. Or else you probably would have ended up with the 24 pack. But I was like, what can I actually take that's quintessentially American, like recognizably American, and not something you can just easily go and get over here, at least not for like a massive markup. So I really struggled, and at the end I settled on, there's always different chocolates, and I was like, these are all things that you can either get over there, like Reese's, like you can just get Reese's anywhere for a normal price. So I ended up being, and M&Ms, actually I think you get the same variety, if not you still get crispy M&Ms over here, and it's really hard to find those, I think, in the US.
Really? I used to really like the pretzel M&Ms. I don't know if you can get them over here now.
I think you can, like if you actually go to the right places,
like
you can find
probably
them,
if you go to the M&M shop, there's
like, and you can order M&Ms online and stuff like that. It's not as difficult. So I was like, what can I get? And then I thought it would be so funny, because for American people listening, why it's funny is the majority of British people that you meet will be like, American chocolate, disgusting. And what they know is American chocolate as well is
Hershey's. I would only eat white American chocolate. I didn't like regular American chocolate.
The pack that I brought back, it was normal Hershey's Kisses, dark chocolate Hershey's Kisses, and I think cookies and cream.
Ooh. Yeah, see, those ones are all right because they're flavoured.
Milk chocolate's not really milk and dark chocolate. I wouldn't call flavoured.
No, but it's cookie. It's like cookie flavour, isn't it? It's not.
No.
Well,
no, it's just milk chocolate.
Oh, that's no fun. I'm sure I've had ones that have had like bits.
They might have had like cookies and cream as like cookies and cream flavored. There's all these different. You can get cupcake flavored now, like everything. This is just milk chocolate and dark chocolate and cookies and cream. So I mean, my work was like, you are such a dick, and I was like, you're welcome. Except like one of the guys was literally came in and he's like, did you know that I love like Hershey's chocolate? Is that why you got these? And I was like, are you joking? And he was like, no, like I'm really serious. I love Hershey's chocolate. We were like, what? How did he get hired? How is he? I love him though. He's like, dude. He's such a sweet person as well. And my thought process, well, I'll get these. In the worst case scenario, I can take them back and cook with them, like when no one eats them. And I also brought in saltwater taffy.
Okay.
Because I was like, normally only like old people.
Is that just like toffee? Is that just toffee?
It's no, saltwater taffy, not saltwater toffee.
What is it?
It's like a malum kind of, but like thicker and harder to eat and a bit
what's it taste of?
I don't know, because I don't even eat them because I don't even like them. But it's very Boston and very New England.
I mean, I've heard of it. I've never had it because I just assumed it was toffee.
It's not. If we still have some at work, I will get you some saltwater taffy. Thanks. And I will
appreciate it.
Bring you one because it's an experience. But then like some of the girls tried it and they were like, I was like, it's okay if you don't like it. I think it's something that like mostly old people like. I don't know. And they were like, I really like it. And I was like, internally you're really old. I don't know what to say. But no, I was like, I'm glad someone does. This is great. So I ended up like scoring bit. Like I don't know how, but it didn't go down
as badly
like
as
the lead. Like the lead balloon I thought it was.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but I tried the milk chocolate and I was like, this is the milk chocolate Hershey's Kiss. And I was like, what? Like horrid. And then I tried the dark chocolate, not as bad. And the cookies and cream was not that bad either. But the milk chocolate, everyone over here knows it as tasting like sick. So actually, that's the kindest that I've ever heard. Normally I just said I just hear it tastes like sick, aka for Americans, vomit. Tastes like puke to British people for the most part, except Joe, where it tastes like wax. And apparently I've found an article which I won't read out all of it, but there was an accusation which has been proven, it has been proven to be true or false at the moment. It's being rejected by, it's not even being investigated, it's being rejected by Hershey's. No one's proved it, but the Daily Mail, who if you're British you definitely know to trust the Daily Mail,
not
among some other papers, alleged that there is presence of butyric acid. I think is what it's called, butyric acid. Butyric acid in Hershey's chocolate, and that is also found in rancid butter, Parmesan cheese, and vomit. And they were saying that is why
flavor in beer as well.
There you go. So they were claiming that they've added it, but the head of corporate communications for Hershey's has vehemently denied it, calling it an urban legend. But everyone believes it because the majority over here think Hershey's tastes like sick, and therefore they're like, well, that explains it. But to be fair, I mean, I don't hate this chocolate milk. I don't know what English chocolate milk has because I don't really drink a lot of chocolate milk, full stop. So not horrid. Haven't really had chocolate milk since I was a kid. Pretty good. So I didn't like this the first time I had it, the Yingling.
Oh really?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just because I keep getting that Hershey's taste back in my mouth. And I'm like, and I just can't.
Bad memories.
Yeah, it's not. I used to like Hershey's as a kid because that's what you have on s'mores, and I probably would still have it on a s'more because I feel like that's how a s'more has to be made, but I'm not a fan. But well, I'll sip on this. What I will say,
the best way to make a s'more, right?
Over here, do you get the chocolate biscuit, you get a chocolate digestive and a marshmallow?
Yeah, but not just any old chocolate biscuit. You will get the caramel digestive biscuits.
Oh,
so you've got chocolate caramel biscuit and your marshmallow in the middle.
I never thought of
billionaire s'mores.
I'm gonna
Best
have to
ever.
try that. I'm gonna have to
Do
try
it.
that. I never thought to try that.
Best. It's my
I'm
absolute
into it.
fave. Whenever I'm talking about s'mores, I'm like, this is how you make the best s'mores ever, by the way.
Have to give that a go.
Yep.
Because that sounds innovative AF.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Yingling, I don't think it's really made its way over here. I think it's very much American. It's based in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and that is also where Hershey is from. So Hershey's obviously in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
And that's how they've ended up collaborating.
Is so Yingling is, as far as I can tell, it is still Indian family owned since the 1800s, 1829 to be specific. They have a partnership with Molson Coors, but they still, like, the family, they're sixth generation that's in the business now. Funnily enough, the sixth generation is 4 daughters.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's the daughters that are running it now.
Jen, Debbie, Wendy, and Cheryl.
Yeah.
4 daughters who run it, and they proudly work alongside their dad to carry on the family tradition of brewing good beer for everyday enjoyment. That's what's plastered on the website. And I thought that was really cool and interesting, because I didn't know that. And from what I can tell, their partnership with Molson Coors is really, it sounds like it's effectively contract brewing, just so they can reach parts of the country where
Yingling's big in America, right? Like, you can get Yingling most places.
So I think that's only been since the deal, the partnership with Molson Coors, because I remember probably either just before I moved here or just after I moved here, it was still particularly difficult to get a Yingling. Like, if you got a Yingling beer, it was probably in a bar and it was probably on tap. Like, you couldn't just go and get a bottle, or if you found it, it was very rare, so you'd be like, oh my god, need to try it. And that's just from also being on the East Coast. So we've talked about it before, how difficult it is to ship between state, like even just crossing state lines, so it just doesn't happen that much. So this partnership has allowed them effectively to stretch out to other parts of the country where they couldn't get to before, and it also helps keep it fresh, because they don't have to worry about brewing it and then going through the hurdles of getting it. So it's quite interesting. I thought that they had that partnership, but they are still, like I said, as far as I can tell, independent and family owned. Hershey, Pennsylvania. I mentioned I've gone to Hershey Park. It's the home of Hershey Park and the Hershey History and Story Museum and lots of other chocolate themed things. You go into Hershey Park, all their lampposts are made of Hershey Kiss Street, like there's Hershey Kiss street lights. Some of them are wrapped, some of them are unwrapped. I think it's funny.
Stole the foils.
Some of them have foils and some of them don't have foils, so that's part of Hershey Park. That's pretty great. And this recipe, the Yingling Hershey's chocolate porter, is it's the Yingling dark brewed porter. And they've basically just like rebrewed that to incorporate Hershey's. And I've got a note, bear with, because I've taken notes. So let me just find out, because I have exactly what they've used. Okay, so the specific ingredients that they use from Hershey's are basically, if you go on the Yingling website, you will be able to kind of find all this information. They've also, interestingly, have a whole recipes section that gives you different recipes you can make with various Yingling beers. So I imagine you could probably go on there, see a recipe you like, and trade it out. There's like dips for parties, actual full-on meals, really cool. But as part of that, they have a Q&A section about this specific beer right here, the Hershey's collab. And it says that they have used Hershey's iconic chocolate syrup, the cocoa powder, which is what I mentioned.
Yeah, that's what you're tasting.
I could smell. And they used cocoa nibs to create a once-in-a-lifetime collaboration along with Yingling's nearly 200-year-old dark porter recipe. So the dark porter recipe was originally brewed expressly for tavern owners and family trade since 1829. They now put it in bottles, I believe, but effectively it's their core range porter. it says it should have like tasting notes of caramel or dark roasted malts, is what they've used. And yeah, you should get some chocolate in that as well already naturally. That was a 4.7% recipe. This one is, I'm not sure it even says on it.
Nope.
Interesting. Well, I've got it on the website. So this one is, it looks to also be 4.7%.
Okay.
So this one was a limited edition of what they brewed, and then they've decided to just continue brewing it. Because I remember the first time it came out, like you couldn't find it, you couldn't get hands on it.
Yeah.
I tried to get it like the time I'd gone home after seeing it, and I couldn't. But yeah, so they now put it in bottles, which is pretty great. And then it's, what occasions do you recommend having it for? And it's basically all special occasions. It says holidays, Valentine. It says holidays, whatever that holiday is. Valentine's Day,
all the time,
Halloween.
Like,
it does say Halloween.
It's a go-to beer for me. It's delicious.
Yeah, I like Yingling, but I don't know if specifically this one is the one for me personally. Okay. But yeah, I mean, they did say, like, does this mean you're discontinuing your original porter? And they were like, absolutely not. We've brewed this for 190 years and we will not be stopping anytime soon. So, I mean, if you can get hands on it, I do recommend trying it, just because it's good. It's an interesting view onto.
Can I tell you about
Hersheys?
when I first had a Yingling lager? Because I'm going to name drop.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Celebrity.
So on the cruise ships, one of the ships I was working on, they the cruise line that I worked for bought out a charter company, and so they would charter out. So basically, someone would buy out the entire ship for a particular thing, like be it like for a theme, or for, like, you know, they had Star Trek ones, they had I don't know, like there was like a quilting one, and like there's like different, like they buy out the whole thing, and then that purpose sells tickets, and it's a cruise about that particular thing. So while I was there, we had a Southern Rock cruise, we had the Kiss cruise, and we had Blake Shelton's country cruise.
Casually as you do.
Yeah, and they were all incredibly fun. But for the Blake Shelton cruise, he came on, and part of his rider was that he needed to have Yingling lager in his stateroom. He left halfway through his own cruise because, you know, he had, air quotes, work things to do.
Of course.
After he'd done his performances, he buggered off, basically. But he left Yingling beer behind, and they invited the entertainment department up to have a little party in his stateroom after he'd gone, and we got to drink his beer.
How did you get, the thing is, like, how do you get selected to do that without having like the whole ships? Like, how did that, like, your department?
Because we were the entertainment department.
So is it literally like, because he was the entertainment, you guys get to come in fees? Yeah,
we'd like, because they also took over our dressing rooms, and we had to move all of our stuff out. So, like, as a thank you, like they invited us up to have a party. You know, we all thought Blake Shelton was going to be there, but he'd disappeared at the port before then.
Can you imagine, like, cool. We're going up to Blake Shelton's estate, and then, like, you get up there and you're like, and he's gone.
I did meet Neil McCoy though. Nobody knows that. If you're a country music fan, you'll know who that is. Like, I've never been a country person. We had Neil McCoy, we had Trace Adkins. I ended up hanging out with Clayton Anderson, who was like an up and coming star now, and he's a bit bigger now. Who else did we meet? Randy Houser. Randy Houser's band nicked our costumes and thought it was really funny to wear them at the end of his set, and I then yelled at them because I then had singers who were throwing a hissy fit because they were like, oh my god, you're gonna have to wash that before I wear it. And it was like a hand painted leather jacket.
Oh no.
And I was like, how am I going to wash a hand painted leather jacket on a ship, dude? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, I will Febreze it and I will vodka it. Like, chill. And if you haven't heard me talk about vodka before, you basically water down cheap vodka and you spray out costumes with it, and it kills the bacteria because it's alcohol. It's a that's a wardrobe thing. So that's what I had to promise to do. And then Randy Houser's band had to give me the end of their tequila to make up for it.
Honestly, so there's some indie music I like that on Americana that borders on being like country, but that's probably as country. Maybe there's probably like a handful of country songs that I've ever been like, okay, or like people that I know. I don't know. I've no idea. I've just never, I think that's probably the one style that I've never been like.
And it's funny because I come over here and like no one over here knows any of those people, and I'm like, I knew who they were, so it was cool.
I'm sure they're really cool people.
Yeah,
I feel bad because I'm just like, no idea. But I do know who Blake Shelton. I have heard of Blake Shelton. So
yeah,
I do know.
I drank Blake Shelton's beer.
You got to go to his room. He wasn't there.
He'd already gone. So he drank his beer because he left.
Kind of seems like less creepy though to be like, I've gone to his room but he wasn't there. It was a bit more creepy if you're like, we went to his room and he was 100% there.
Yeah, but he'd invited us up there.
True.
So
power in numbers.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's all the stuff we've got for Yingling and Hershey's. So
tasty.
The next collaboration we have
is
drum roll. UnBarred and Bird and Blend Deco.
Yeah.
So we had the beer, which was the raspberry tea sour, 5.2% ABV.
Yeah.
And we have raspberry tea sour. That's what.
So if you've done any orders with UnBarred, they stick these tea bags into the boxes.
If you're watching the video, we're showing you the tea bags.
So it comes on a little postcard, and then you've got the Bird and Blend beer tea from the beer, and it's Earl Grey creme. And it's fresh and fragrant Earl Grey with a hint of vanilla, and it includes Ceylon black tea, vanilla pieces, blue cornflowers, and natural flavoring. And on the card it says, "Hi, we're Bird and Blend Tico, and we've had great fun working some mixology magic with UnBarred to bring together both worlds of brewing in this collaboration. Using their knowledge of beer and our tea expertise, we wanted to create something exciting with a real fusion between both. We used our blue raspberry green tea in the beer, but we've dropped you a new tea sample here to try, perfect for a warming cuppa this winter." So, yeah. So
it smells really nice.
Oh, it does smell nice. Get the Earl Grey. Have you tasted it?
Yeah, I've tasted it. I've gone in for a taste. And yeah. We didn't put anything.
Nothing in it.
It's just straight. If you're watching the video, I'm trying to show you.
It says on the packet that you've got to brew it for 4 minutes, so I did. Make sure I got the full flavour in it.
I did as well. And it
came in a pyramid tea bag. Proper fancy.
I've got the remnants. The remnants of the tea bag on a soy sauce thing. Because I was like, that's all I have to put a tea bag on. But it tastes really nice. Like, I'm not a massive tea person, so I'm definitely more a coffee person. So I think when I hear something that sounds like this, I think like, oh, that might be a bit too wild for me. Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, I'm not really a big tea person, but it tastes like tea, and I get a little bit of fruitiness in it. There's more. It tastes like a normal tea, but there's more depth.
Yeah,
to that flavor, and I can't really describe the fruity flavor because it's just.
And normally, if I have tea, I sweeten it with like some honey or something, but I don't think this one needs sweetening. It's quite nice.
No, I don't think so. I think it is really nice.
Yeah. Right, should we crack this raspberry tea sour?
I'm excited for this though. So you will have heard Jordan from UnBarred talk about this on our episode. Yeah. So this might be a spoiler alert for what you're about to see as I pour this.
Oh yeah. If you're
look at that. If you're watching the video.
If you're just listening, it's purple.
If you hold it up to the light, it's quite violet.
Yeah. And it's got a purple tinged head as well.
It does indeed.
Smells amazing.
Cool. So I really wish you could get the colour.
Yeah, because
let me see.
So purple.
Let me see if I can just
not even like raspberry red. If that makes it look red, like when you look at it, it's like proper purple, as opposed to like raspberry red.
Yeah, I guess that's like a
Amazing.
little bit. It is like a violet,
Yeah.
to be fair. That's as good
That
if
was
you're watching the
amazing.
video as I could absolutely get is by putting my thing. It does smell absolutely gorgeous.
Just like raspberry juice.
Oh, let's go in for a sip. Oh my God. This is literally perfect. Like, I feel like it is genuinely really perfect.
Yeah.
And it's got like the right amount of tartness where it's like this nice sharp, but like it's like immediately sharp raspberry.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to make your face pucker, which is like, I don't mind ones that do that, but I quite like when it's just a nice sharp tart and then it sort of like settles and it's not the whole way through like your face doesn't scrunch up the whole way through. It's not too sweet, it's not too acidic, it's not too tart, it's just so well balanced for me.
It's lovely. So it's proper like there's light tartness, like it's not major tartness, light tartness, raspberry juice, and then kind of floral, but it's got quite like moderately dry finish so that you want to drink more. Really nice.
Definitely.
Really nice.
So obviously we just talked about the color of it, and Jordan sort of talks about it on the episode as well. If you go back and listen to it, basically the color comes from the butterfly pea. So it's the color, the flower itself is this like gorgeous bright blue flower that kind of looks, I'm trying to think of like, not an orchid, that's not what I'm thinking of, like a lily maybe is what I'm thinking of. Just a very bright blue color. So it's native to Asia and they've used it for centuries in Southeast Asia, for example, as a natural food coloring for food. Like they make a rice dish where they use the butterfly pea, I don't know if it's powder, if they just soak it with the rice, because that's the thing that they do. What I thought was really interesting is like it blossoms around 6 o'clock in the morning, this flower, but it only, once it blossoms, it only stays for 24 hours and then it wilts. So that was it's very like, it like blooms and then it's pretty much gone. So they use it for a lot of different natural food colorings, but they definitely use it in beer and cocktails and tea. There's a lot of butterfly pea teas that are out there. And so what's really interesting about it is it changes based on the pH level, and the pH level being the acidity. So like a tea will have, just using tea as an example, you'd be like, okay, it's this lovely blue color, and then you add lemon to it and it will change to like the violet and purple and pink hues, depending. It's very, very sensitive to acidity. So that's why like mixologists love using it, because you can use citruses to make these cocktails. Or I think one of the places I was reading about maybe did like lemon or something inside of the an ice cube, and that as it melted it changed, and so the color changed because of that. It's very, very creative cocktail. Mixologists love it because of that. The way you can use it, as I mentioned, is you can use the butterfly pea powder, or you can steep the flowers in it for as long as you're kind of wanting. You keep it in for as like deep as you want the color, basically, and the taste is fairly mild. They kind of liken it to just a black herbal tea, which is probably why that's what they've given us is sort of the perfect blend for that, because it's not too like aggressive in taste in any particular way, and that's why it's a great natural food coloring, because it doesn't add, like, you can use it to change the color to these beautiful shades of like blue and purple and pink, and it doesn't necessarily impact the flavor much of what you're having, which is good.
It can add bitterness though, can't it?
It might do, but I mean, I've not seen anything that.
So I believe Tartarus used this in a New England IPA.
They did,
and when they were first testing it, they didn't realize how much bitterness it would add, so they added lots to add to get the right color.
It looked,
and then
I had it and it did look,
and then it
like
actually added a bit more bitterness than they realized. So I think when you're brewing beer with it, they just need to be a bit careful of that.
I mean, I didn't find anything that said that it added bitterness. That's not to say that it doesn't, because I did have that New England from Tartarus, and I thought it was a beautiful beer. It looked beautiful. It tasted really nice, but I did myself question, going like, oh, it's interesting that this is labeled as a New England, because it was more bitter and like it didn't taste how I expected a New England to taste. It was really nice, and I would have had it again, but it certainly had more bitter. So it very well probably does, which is interesting. I did sort of have an adult warning on here, but I thought it made me smile sort of reading this. But the one thing I found from an article I read says more accurately, the flower is shaped almost identically to a woman's clitoris. The similarity is so uncanny that the plant's official scientific name is Clitoria ternati, literally clit tea. And that made me laugh. So I was like, I needed to keep that in there because it made me smile. But speaking of tea, Joe, do you want to take it away? Maybe teach us a bit about tea vocab or adding tea to beer?
I think so. Using tea and beer, I think it's quite similar to. It can be similar to coffee, but whereas like people add whole beans and like ferment beer over whole beans. With tea, you want to cold brew it and then add it at the end after fermentation is finished. Depending on what you want to do, you might actually want to use tea, air quotes, like you might want to use a tisane, which is still considered tea, but it's not got actual like green tea, black tea, etc. in it. It's more dried fruits and flowers and herbs. And that can, when you add that in, it can add like a real other layer of flavor into your beer. So I've done it where I did a raspberry wheat beer, and I put raspberry puree in, much like this beer, and then I cold brewed some raspberry tisane, and I added some of that before bottling, and then that just adds like a slightly more floral note to it, very very much like this. And actually, when we spoke to Jordan, he said their process of making this beer was almost identical to that. You can also obviously add black tea, green tea. Same way. I would say cold brewing is probably the better way of doing it. Because you have to be careful with it, because obviously it can add tannins, because it can add astringency, because one of the descriptions for astringency is like sucking on a tea bag and how that really dries out your mouth, and how black tea is quite astringent if it's on its own, because it can really dry out your mouth when you drink it. So you need to be careful with your levels of adding it in. But if you like, adding tea is going to add the flavor of tea depending on what kind of tea you're adding. Like Earl Grey, which is this one that we've got here, that's got floral and herbal notes to it, so you're going to get those herbal and floral notes in your beer. So yeah, it can be a really interesting addition, and it will add layers to your beer as well.
I was going to say, because I know like if I have a beer and I think it tastes like tea, I'll say, oh, it's herbal, but it's like, is that sort of the right way that you would describe it when it's in a beer? So. Or
I mean, it depends on the tea. It depends on the tea. But yeah, definitely herbal would be the notes that you're getting there. Floral, maybe, depending on the type of tea that's used.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess that's quite true as well, because I think like you've got so many different types of tea, and like you've got like chamomile and green tea, and some of them are a bit more florally. I guess it depends on how they've made it, like what goes into making it. So totally, that totally makes sense. This is really nice. I feel like I've got another can of it, and I'm really glad I've got another can of it because it's really tasty. When we recorded with Jordan, I genuinely thought that it had sold out at that time, so I was like really gutted, because like you had gotten it, and I was like, oh, you're gonna share it, and I was like, oh, thanks, that's so nice of you, so nice. And then I went to go put an order in with them after that episode as well, to get something else that had come out, and I saw it was still available, and I was like, ooh, and then I ordered like 2 of them, and it's no regrets. It's good. It's really nice, and it's just like I said, it's so well balanced. Like I feel like I could easily just keep sipping on it.
And it's got a Berliner Weiss base, and I really like a Berliner Weiss, but they can be very tart, lactic. Like they are a sour beer. They can be, depending on how you do it. But I think I've balanced this really well. All the flavors work really well.
If you're looking at the video, the label, like I just love the label on it. Yeah, it's just an up close of all
dried raspberries and flowers. Yeah, it's just like the tea.
Yeah, it is really really lovely. But yeah, I know, like that initial first few sips, it was very sharp, and then like not very sharp, but it was quite sharp, and then like sort of mellowed out like after the initial sip. Now it's at a point where it's like just a really, I mean, I like sharp, but it's not even as sharp anymore, maybe because my taste buds have gotten used to it, and I'm almost just getting a bit of like, I don't want to say like creaminess to it, but almost a bit of creaminess. And it does have, like, for me, I can definitely taste like some herbal notes in the background. That I think the raspberry is what's like first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then the tea is kind of coming through very like subtly in the back, and it's just this really lovely blend. And yeah, I could sip this in the sun for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I
think Boutilliers use quite a lot of teas in their beers as well, don't they?
That's where I learned how to add tea to beer, because I went and badgered Drew and asked him how I did it.
I was gonna say, do you know how he does it?
Yeah, same way I do. Because that's where I learned it from. They tend to use the Kent and Sussex tea company for their teas.
Nice.
And that's where I get my tea from.
You literally, when you say you do exactly,
I was like, where do you get tea? But they're the people that make the peanut butter and jelly tea. Yeah, and they make a pina colada tea, and I made a pina colada milkshake
that'll
pale
be
ale.
Beautiful to use in a beer.
Yeah, and
like the peanut butter and jelly could, like, that would be interesting to try to incorporate, but I can't imagine you get a massive amount from it. But I'm curious to know how like peanut butter and jelly the tea bag is.
Well, you've had beer with it in. Like, you've had the low-key peanut butter and jelly beer.
I don't think I realised that had
that
tea
was
in it.
Yeah, I told you that.
I don't think I realised it.
Yeah, that's tea that's made.
That was like probably the same night that we had like 7 barley wines, and you expect me to remember when we've had like 7 bottles of barley wine or whatever it was in-pea stouts and barley wines. Like, I've sat here going, oh yes, and this one has the peanut butter and jelly tea in it. Like, I did not remember that. Yeah, it was a really good one. I remember it was really good, but interesting. I can't think of any other breweries off the top of my head that definitely use tea in it, but I know that it has been used quite a few of the ones.
Almost every time I've seen a brewery do it, it's because they've been doing a collaboration with Boutilliers.
Fair dues.
Other than UnBarred.
Yeah, other than UnBarred. This one is a legitimate like tea collaboration.
I don't know if Yeasty Boys Gonna Matter has Earl Grey tea in it, or whether it's just Earl Grey.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have seen flavored. So yeah, I also know, so I knew Wild Weather had Storm in a Teacup, so I've just done a quick little check just to see, and yeah, they have blended US hops, and at least the original ones. I don't know if this is still everything of what they do in their current form, but yeah, they use Earl Grey tea.
Yeah, see.
So yeah, to introduce the wonderful bergamot aroma to a crisp IPA base is what it says. So I was gonna say, I knew that there were some breweries that like I knew used Earl Grey or something, but I couldn't necessarily think of them off the top of my head until you said that, and then I was like, Wild Weather do Storm in a Teacup. So yeah, it's overall really tasty. I'm not sure when it comes to how does it taste, and what's the similarity in terms of the taste between the tea and the beer. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily similar in that respect.
I think this is a different tea. I think we thought it was the tea bag.
Yeah,
we thought this was the raspberry tea, but actually it's not. It's Earl Grey creme.
but it's like quite a nice
regardless,
they
go quite nicely together though.
It's quite they complement each other quite nice, because like I said, I think this I do get like a little bit of creaminess and herbal notes, and it's sort of like it's similar, and it's nice. Cool. Moving on to our next one. Pretty excited for the next one, just to see how it still holds up. All
right, so our next one is the highly coveted, highly absurd Aunt Bessie's Jam Rollie Poli Pale Ale, Jam and Custard Pale Ale. We've also got Aunt Bessie's Jam Rollie Poli.
We really have it. And I really just made it, and it's hot.
We just went and made it.
I don't know if I've done it right, because I don't know.
This one you just bung in the microwave.
I'm just gonna.
What, no, you've never had a Jam Rollie Poli before, have you?
No.
Do you want to try that first, or do you want to try the beer first?
I've had the beer before, so I'm a bit concerned, because like when I first had it, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was really lovely.
Like I really loved it, and I was like, bring back Jam Rollie Poli.
Yeah, and it came in a set with the roast dinner brown ale, which was also beautiful.
I unfortunately didn't get that because I didn't buy the set. I just bought it on its own.
Well, what do you want to go for first? You want to go for the Jam Rollie Poli first, or the beer?
Let me taste the beer before I have a chance to be tainted.
It smells nice.
It does smell nice, but it doesn't smell the exact way that I remember it. Like I remember it being more custardy as well in the smell.
I mean, I'm getting a lot of vanilla from it. Are you not getting creamy vanilla?
I'm getting vanilla, but I'm getting more like heavily fruit. And there's vanilla, but like the creaminess I was getting last time was a bit different to just like vanilla and fruit. From what I remember, maybe it's just like fond memories. But don't say we don't cater to all budget ranges, because basically they've released this now in Tesco, which is why Morrison's. I'm like Morrison's. Yes, sorry, I just automatically default to Tesco, but yes, in Morrison's now, and you can get it as singles or in a 4-pack, and I think that's what made me be like, I want to try it, because I want to know if it's kept its integrity.
I'm getting plum and apple.
Yeah, I get plum, very heavily plum.
Still nice. Yeah,
it's still nice. I don't think it tastes exactly the same as it did, but
I mean, you drank that a long time ago, and you've had a lot of beers since then.
Yeah, but I remember that because I remember it being like, I remember it being like, this is like so beautiful. Like I remember that being one of the ones that I was just like, amazing. Like, need them to remake this. But saying that, like, it still does taste really nice. It is very fruity. It's not too sweet. It's not like, I don't feel like there's like sugar gonna rot my teeth away or anything like that, which there's always like something like this running the risk of it being too sweet, and it's not. It's really balanced. The fruit comes through really nicely.
There's vanilla creaminess at the end, I think.
There is, and I think maybe that's what it was. It's like the first one, there was a bit more of that.
Okay.
Like I think the fruit was a bit like not stronger. It's really hard to put into words, but I remember the fruit kind of hitting a bit different, and the custardy aspect being a bit more apparent, like all around, not just towards the back end. But I mean, this still tastes really nice, and I mean, I don't know how much it costs at Morrison's, because your dad very kindly
I sent my dad on a mission for
it. So yeah, I'm gonna. This is not only am I trying this, but I'm trying a Jam Rollie Poli, an actual Aunt Bessie's, because we don't half-ass things around here. An actual Aunt Bessie's.
The actual ones.
Right, I've got do like a comparison and then go. So I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna see. My husband saw me making it, and he's like, "Oh, that looks quite nice. Actually, it looks quite presentable." And I was like, "Yeah." We're eating it. That's what the silence is.
Yeah.
I could just eat pastry crust and I'd be happy.
Yeah, literally, I was thinking about this because I was like, what's the difference between a Jam Rollie Poli and a Swiss roll? And a Jam Rollie Poli is more pastry doughy.
Yeah, I love it.
And a Swiss roll is light sponge.
No, I could eat this like biscuity crust.
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better way to describe it. And it's like minimal fruit. Like it's not an overpowering amount of fruit to make it like too healthy and fruit where you're like, like that's not a dessert. That's like when someone gives you like a cheese board and grapes and then they're like, oh, that's pudding. You're like, that's not pudding. That's a starter. That's not pudding. Like it's not too fruity that I'm like, that's not pudding. That's healthy.
Okay. I think if we're going to compare flavors, the beer is more fruity, more the jam and the custard. Then like it needs a bit more malty,
like
pastry.
It needs more pastry.
Yeah,
and I would argue
exactly
a little
the same.
I think it needs a little bit more vanilla custard in my opinion, and a little bit more. Yeah,
so.
For me, I think it needs a little bit more. But this is like amazing for me because I could just eat vanilla custard.
Oh yeah,
and pie crust. Like for me, I think this is what's really great about my relationship with my husband. I feel like he's the pie filling person, and I'm the pie crust person. Whereas he'll be like filling all day, and I'm like, give me your crust. Give me your crust. Then I love it.
I'm just sat here eating jam Rollie Poli now.
I didn't think I was going to like it.
Really?
I think,
what did you think it was going to be then?
I don't know. There was like fruit, and I was like,
Do you think there's going to be bits of fruit in it? Like this isn't pie.
I don't mind bits of fruit, and I don't mind pie, but I thought the fruit was going to be more oppressive than it was.
Okay.
Like I thought it was going to be way more like aggressive fruit in your face. And
but you got to remember that jam Rollie Poli is a staple of like school dinners, so it's not going to have huge amounts of fruit.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah, but the kids won't eat it, so you can't have, it can't be like incredibly healthy fruit.
To be fair, I didn't know that until you just said that.
Yeah, so school
literally, I said to my husband, "How do I make it? What custard I put on it? Do I keep it cold? Do I heat it up? Like what do I do?" And he was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "Well, how do you not know?" And he was just like, he's like, "I don't eat that. I don't know."
Your husband's too healthy for jam Rollie Poli, love.
And I was literally like, yeah, but I thought as a kid, like I was like, what do you mean? And then I was like, you're British. And then his response to me was barely. And I was like, you literally are the British one. And he's just like, meh.
I mean, you're the one that's had to do a test, so
I'm not
know more than we do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not anymore. I forgot that. The second you don't need to remember it anymore, it's gone. I'm going to go back for a
use that in your life. Right, now the problem is though, you've had all the sugar from this, and that's going to dull the flavours in this. And this is why when you are food and beer pairing, I thought about this earlier in the day. I thought I'd point it out. When you're food and beer pairing, if you have the same flavours, they can cancel each other out rather than complement, contrast, or cut. So sometimes having the same flavours together, you're not going to get the best experience.
Yeah, I think it's made this taste a little bit more bitter. Because like the fruit's there, but I think it's exactly what you said. It's the similar fruit flavours, which is actually probably quite a good thing because that shows that they are quite similar flavours to the point that that fruit flavour almost feels watered down.
Yeah.
It tastes more watery, and I'm just tasting more bitter.
Yeah.
And there's not really that sweetness anymore.
It's because the flavours are now cancelling themselves out. So this would not be a good beer and food pairing because you're not getting anything extra out of it. But
then the more you're
diluting the flavours of something that are already quite good on their own.
I think the more you drink it, then the more it starts to come back. But it's just that
you're cleaning the other flavours from your palate by drinking it.
It's interesting though. Does that kind of say though? Is that not sort of a way to sort of verify? Oh, the flavours are quite similar. Like clearly they've landed quite close. Then if they're cancelling each other out,
you can probably say that. Yeah.
What happens if I go back to jam Rollie Poli?
Experiment time.
I just love it. I literally just give me pie crust and custard.
We converted Tori to jam Rollie Poli.
Yeah, I wasn't a non-convert. I've never had it. I feel like I've been lied to. Like I didn't know like this was, and no one I really know is like, oh, having a jam Rollie Poli tonight.
It's like proper old school.
The first time I heard of it was the Northern Monk beer. And I was like, what is this? And then I thought, oh, that's a fun name. And then I was like, oh, that's a thing. I know Aunt Bessie's. They do frozen Yorkshire puddings and stuff. So, I'm into it. It was good. While I'm munching, this is not Northern Monk's first rodeo, is it?
No. I think, was this the first one they did though? I feel like
I think it was
silly.
I think this is the first. This is the first one where, as far as I can remember, this was the first one that they were like, they announced they were doing this collaboration.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like,
haha, that's an April Fool's, surely.
No, that wasn't this one. This one, they were like, we're doing it. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? That's weird. And they were like, well, Aunt Bessie's collaboration. That's weird. And this one, I want to be clear, because based on the one that we're going to finish on, I want to be very clear. This is a collaboration. Like that is
with Aunt Bessie's. Like
Aunt
that's
Bessie's.
the official branding is all over the can.
It is very official. It is 100% a real collaboration. This is not just a imitation of flavors or like a tribute to it. Like this is very much the collaboration. The first one they did was very much a collaboration when they used the Yorkshire puddings and all that. And that was, I think, the first one that people were like, what the like, this is fucking weird that they're doing this collaboration with a non-brewery. Like this is quite a big brand. And I can't remember if this was before or after Seven Brothers did the Chicago Town pizza. I think it might have been at,
I think it was before. No. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was before or after, but I think they were like close enough together.
Yeah, they were close together.
That people were like, what is happening? Yeah. Like, what is going on? And then that's when last April Fools, they announced they were doing the collaboration with Seabrook Crisps. And everybody was like, that's weird. Yeah. That's a weird one. They fooled people because everyone went, hilarious April Fool's joke, guys. And then like a few days after that, they were like, no, really, we are. This is happening. Like you thought this, they purposely announced on April Fools.
We were going to try and get the prawn cocktail goes, weren't we? We didn't manage to get one,
which actually is why I think the Seven Brothers came out second, because I think when we were originally looking at doing this, we were like, we'll go Chicago Town pizza collaboration, and we'll get the Northern Monk crisp collaboration, and the only ones that we could find even were the prawn crackers, and we couldn't even find them by the time they were the last ones available, because I think they were the ones people wanted the least, but we still couldn't get them. So we were like, okay, it was weird. And so they deliberately announced on April Fool's last year, and everyone was like, haha, good one, guys. And then they were like, no, and that's when they had the cheese and onion lager and the prawn cocktail goes.
Madness.
Which I haven't had either of. Did you have either?
No, I didn't manage to get either of them. And then they did the ones with Ronseal.
Can you explain? So I didn't even know until it came out.
So I had to explain to you what Ronseal was, wasn't I? Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know what Ronseal is, I'm going to keep eating. It's basically a fence paint. And its slogan is, it does what it says on the tin, which is, you seal your fences with it, and it's waterproof or whatever. But it's like not even a food brand. They are literally fence paint. Literally. I remember people thinking that was a piss take, because they were like, all right, this one's definitely, because I think they did the April Fool's beer one. Tastes so bad it tastes like creosote from Ronseal, ha ha ha. But they did a saison and a best bitter. I had the best bitter, and it was very good, because those two beers are similar colours to the colours of Ronseal. I think it was a very clever way to use like a brand that's like, use a colour to be like, there's the connection is the color, and not like, because you wouldn't want it to be flavored like fencing. And it does what it says on the tin is also a slogan that you could use to describe it, because we've said it many times. What it says on the can, that's what it tastes like. I think it's like it's interesting to think about like how that collaboration even I don't like it was because they're a northern company, and Northern Monk are a northern company, like that's what they said it was. So you did a tasting where you used that one, didn't you? Yeah, they provided me that one. It was all right. Yeah, it's good. I just remember the absolute piss take that like erupt after that, because people were like, like genuinely now we are out of the realm of food. Yeah.
What the actual fuck? And they were like saying, oh, like you said, oh, tastes so bad, it tastes like fence paint, blah blah. No one had actually tried it at that point.
No. The best bit, it was quite good, and I heard the saison was all right as well.
Yeah, I didn't have either, but I mean, like I said, it's a really interesting way to sort of collaborate on those two, like to make it about the color. So it was, for if anyone's interested, it's a medium oak best bitter and a harvest gold saison. So I would like to hear more about how that actually, other than just they're both northern, like how do they decide who approached who, and how did they decide which one they were gonna, which styles they were gonna do, and that they were gonna market it based on colors, and did the Ronseal people actually help brew it? Like that is so interesting. I would love to know more about that. So if anyone knows more about that, please feel free to tell me. And then this year for April Fools, they announced a collaboration with Potts Gravy, because everyone, the way Potts puts their gravy is in a can, isn't it? And it looks like a craft beer almost. And so it's the joke is coloured. And the joke is, haha, I accidentally grabbed this by mistake.
And new craft beer. Oh no, wait, it's gravy.
Or tasting notes taste like crazy. I don't know, beef or like I don't know, just ridiculous. Like that is for a while when they first released that was like all over the Facebook pages. It was just joke city about all of it. And this year for April Fools, they said they were doing a collaboration with Potts Gravy, and they were going to make a beef stock imperial stout and a vegetable stock pale ale. The time we're recording, still not 100% positive if it actually is a joke. True.
Yeah, although I did see someone else had gone and got a Potts Gravy can and was just like, oh, I really wanted Northern Monks collaboration, but could only find the chicken version.
I mean, to be fair, it was like when they did the Seabrook one, they announced it on April Fools, and it was on the 9th of April that they were like, hit, like, you thought we were joking. Why did you think that? It's coming out, and we're only a few days past that mark. So I mean, it's still very much a possibility that, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they were like, it is actually happening. But then they could also be going like, we're double bluffing you now to just keep you on your toes. I mean, it would be interesting. Vegetable stock pale, that would be weird and funny. But so I mean, some of the other interesting collaborations that they had is, we already talked about the Seven Brothers one. That's the one that sort of inspired the initial drive to do an episode like this, and we parked it for a while because to be honest, it was really difficult to get these interesting collaborations. And we did mention on a sustainability episode that they've partnered with Kellogg's to do their sustainable cereal series. Goose Island, I know it's not craft, but and it's not quite a collaboration with beer, but they've collaborated with another company to make frozen party food. So I actually have some of it because I wanted to try it. I've got the onion rings, and I think they had like loaded chips and all kinds of stuff. So I've got some of those. Mac and cheese bites, I think, was one of them. Nice. So I've got them because I wanted to try them. I thought that's a bit interesting. You don't see that often. Camden, again, I know it's not craft, but they did a Marmite collaboration, which I didn't have that. Did you have that in the end?
I've got it in the fridge. I haven't tried it because, they're not really craft, but they were selling singles somewhere, and I was like, because at one point it was just 4-packs, and I was like, I'm not buying 4.
That's it. I hate
but
Marmite.
They were singles, and I was like, I snuck one in a bag at one point, and I was like, at some point I'll try that. I don't really like Marmite though, so I don't hold high hopes.
I hate Marmite. I really hate Marmite, but
I did Twiglet yesterday because someone was like, oh, they're not that Marmite-y.
No, they're terrible. They're actually terrible. Oh, not a fan. But I've heard that the Marmite beer is not actually meant to taste like it was like
it's smoky, isn't it? It's supposed to be smoky, which is why I picked up, because I like smoky beer. So
it was similar to
craft. So
it's similar to another name drop, Oscar Blues, where they had the mustard beer, where we did the barbecue episode. You brewed us the mustard beer because we couldn't get Oscar Blueses. They did the collaboration with French's, and like Camden, I've been told like that one wasn't meant to be tasting like mustard. It was similar taste to like a company foods that you'd use mustard on. So I think it was kind of similar with the Marmite one as well, similar vibes. I mean, a whole bunch of breweries. I think the two easiest things to do collaboration wise, like breweries, where you're going from your brewery and a non-brewery collaboration, is always coffee and chocolate. So a bunch of breweries do those collaborations. Like Heist have done a collaboration with Bullion Chocolate recently. I've got a can of that stout. It was a chocolate stout. Lots of breweries do chocolate collabs, and then a lot of them as well do coffee ones. Like Siren literally has a whole barista series where they use coffee. I think like a good one, we love talking about Girls Who Grind, just for their whole ethos.
Collaborations with
literally
breweries all the time.
Cloudwater, Mondo, they've done one with, and
it was Girls That Grinds Coffee that we put in our International Women's Collaboration Brew Day beer with Heist.
So. It absolutely was. And the Yonder one sounds amazing. It was a caramel frap breakfast stout. It was called a Ritual Union. I haven't had it, but it sounds really good. I've not had that either.
So. I wanted to get it and I didn't manage to. So many beers, so little time.
For me, it's so many beers, so little budget to get
that too. That too.
It's a problem. You have to like make decisions, like conscious decisions of like, what can I actually use when I spend my money, and not just keep buying them.
Yeah,
because I feel like I only get around to drinking the podcast beers half of the time, anyways. How do you think they stack up together, these two?
I think the beer is more fruity and vanilla, and I think if you wanted it to truly taste like Jam Rollie Poli, you needed a bit more malt to come through it. However, I think it is a nice little representation. It is a delicious beer, and Jam Rollie Poli is really good. So
I would agree. Like I said, I mean, I'm still maintaining that I don't think it's quite as high up the scale for me and my taste bud.
It was small batch, and now it's made on the scale for Morrison's throughout the country. So
all I'm saying is, like, when I'm rating it compared to how it was, it doesn't stack as high, but it's still quite enjoyable, and it's been quite summery.
It's fairly easily accessible now as well, in that it's in a Morrison's. So
it's definitely, I think it's worth trying if you've not tried it.
If you've not tried it, it's definitely worth trying to get it.
And you like the flavours of Jam Rollie Poli.
And you like fruity flavours in your beer. All right, so our next one.
Our last one
indeed, is Iron Brew Sour from Vault City.
It may be very similar
to
a popular Scottish beverage.
Right, let's have a look.
To be fair, this one's just a bit of fun because it's not. This one's not a legitimate collaboration. We just added this on to the end. A, because we wanted to try it, and B, I think they've actually done.
Mine's a bit lighter.
I don't know how yours looks lighter. Mine's definitely.
Mine's lighter. You can see in the picture.
Mine looks spot on.
Mine's just kind of gold.
If I can hold on, let me try to get you
colours.
Let me try to get a photo of the actual colours.
I mean, I can see it on you.
It's difficult to. I feel like it's difficult to tell on the computer screen because it makes it like one thing, but it properly is. It's properly the same colours.
Yeah. Now I don't think I've ever tried an Iron Brew.
How is that possible?
Well, so the thing is, it's the same colour as a Lucasade, right?
I don't know. I've never had a Lucasade.
Yeah, so Lucasade, it's the same colour as a Lucasade. My grandmother used to force feed me Lucasade when I was ill because she said it would make me feel better. It never made me feel better, and now I hate Lucasade.
Is so that because like the equivalent of Gatorade?
Colour, I think so. Yeah. But because this is the same colour, it like gives me PTSD. So,
oh god, are you gonna start
so
drinking
I've never
it?
Drunk it. No, I'll probably be all right, but like I've just never drunk it. My husband, however, his mum is Scottish.
Oh really?
Yeah. So don't say to him about being Scottish though, because he gets really annoyed about it.
Is he like, I am English?
Yeah, he's like, I'm English. What are you talking about? And I was like, you must have drunk Iron Brew, right? Because you're Scottish. And he threatened to divorce me.
Oh,
so yeah, that's my story.
To be fair, I'd take it as a compliment because I love Scotland and I like love Scottish people. So I take that as a compliment. So I wish people would call me Scottish, but I'm not remotely.
Rather than Bristolian.
Then I just get Bristol, which is cool. I like Bristol as well.
Yeah.
I get called West Country and Bristol, which is cool. But like, I feel like Scotland would be a bit cooler, but I definitely don't sound Scottish. So. But well, I can tell you because I've had it before quite a few times, and I've always described
what does it taste like?
bubble gum.
Oh, really?
That's the only way that I could think to do it.
Oh.
But it's really funny because you ask people how they describe Iron Brew.
Yeah.
Like you always get like some people have just described it as like it's like
Orange,
not orange
yeah.
as in like the fruit
flavour
orange, but like
yeah.
they'll just be like it tastes like the color orange and Scottish stuff and like so I did
what
yeah
haggis?
I don't know. For me, it's definitely bubblegum.
Right.
I did ask on Instagram about like how would people describe the taste of Iron Brew, and I got pretty much. So I had like such a range. I did get quite a few responses, and the range I had it went from like rank and weird and just overall like not good, full stop. And then I had other people describe it as the perfect cure for a hangover, and just perfection flat out. Like people are like it's perfection. Greg, one of the guys that works at my local drinking establishment, he referred to it very specifically as pineapple and aluminum. And I say aluminum because I made sure to ask him how to pronounce it, and he pronounced it the correct way.
That's not the correct way of pronouncing it. I'm sorry.
We'll fight for forever. I did say to him, how do you pronounce that though? Because he is also from the US. So
so that doesn't count because you like to pronounce it wrong.
He pronounced it right. As far as I'm concerned, it was correct.
Anyway.
And on the scale of correctness, Sammy from Hop Sauce and someone else from Instagram, Kev, said they both use the correct descriptions of bubblegum in their responses. That's what I deem to be the correct response is bubblegum. Okay. But I did have some people mention fruitiness, just full stop, like varying ranges of fruitiness or just saying fruity. And it's my friend Jamie very specifically, she was like it was orange and raspberry juice with cream soda. So that's the range that you're getting. And then like I said, I've seen people online just go orange, but like the color orange.
Right. Okay, I've never tried one.
Try it.
This before.
Oh my god, this is so many firsts for us. I did the first to jam Rollie Poli, and you're doing the first Iron Brew. I'm gonna see if this still marries up before I remember it tasting like. Yes, bubblegum.
Yeah, that tastes like
bubblegum.
You may have heard me say before that my granddad was an ice cream man. This tastes like bubblegum ice cream sauce, and I don't like that either.
It tastes like. To me, it just tastes like Hubba Bubba. It tastes like
just sweet.
If you are from the US and you like grew
it
up
does
with
remind me of Lucasade as well, so that's not fun.
If you were like me, you grew up with the ice cream truck come around to your house with like American ice cream truck, not a British one. I can't speak for the British one. Maybe you had this, I don't know. But you'd get like a snow cone, but it was like a pre-made, like it wasn't like you got a snow cone that they just made like fresh shaved ice or anything like that, but you'd get like a pre-packaged snow cone that would like come in a like one of those cone shaped cups, and it was like all filled up, and it had that, and on the bottom there was like a thing of bubble gum at the bottom of it.
So we didn't have, it wasn't shaved ice, but you could get a screwball and it would be a plastic cone, and my granddad used to have boxes of the bubblegum balls. You used to have to order them, and you got your cone tub, you'd put a bubblegum in the bottom and then fill it with soft serve.
So that it was called a screwball for us as well, but I remember it being shaved ice, but it could have been actual ice cream, but it wasn't freshly.
Yes, and
it wasn't freshly done ice cream.
He pulled them fresh, and then you could have whatever you wanted on top.
I remember a screwball being shaved ice, but with the bubblegum, but
we fancy over here. We got proper ice cream.
Maybe I was gonna say, like I said, maybe it was ice cream and I'm misremembering it. I don't know. Maybe I'm combining two different things, but it was never. It was never fresh ice
done.
cream.
Yeah, no, these ones.
Yeah, it was always.
At least that's how my granddad done it, and
But it's interesting that does translate, because it was that
that is interesting.
Papery. It wasn't like full on.
It wasn't a paper one.
Papery.
This was like a solid plastic cone, and he used to have them stacked up in the van.
Ours was like a
papery one.
Papery, but it wasn't like flat out paper. It had like a little
cardboard,
bit of
and it's slightly
coated and then as it gets wet, it starts to
so he
break.
Had those.
That's how you get to the gumball.
That's what his tubs were made out of for putting. If you wanted a tub of ice cream as opposed to a cone, he had like wafer cones. He wouldn't get like sugar cones. For years, I tried to make him buy me sugar cones, but he just said they wouldn't sell, and he just had the wafer ones. Made me really sad.
That's what that reminds me of. This is what the bubble
Yeah,
gum
do
tastes.
you know
Tastes
what?
like
When
a
I
screwball.
tasted it, when you said bubblegum, I was like, it did make me think of the bubblegum ball in the
Because
bottom of the screwball.
it's like after it's been soaked in ice cream for a bit, and then you're like,
Yeah,
your
'cause
face
it's
is like,
just-
please don't make me have more.
It's just like pure sugar.
So yeah, I mean, right here on it says sparkling flavored soft drink with sugar and sweeteners.
Jesus, you don't need
Sugar and sweetness.
Sugar and sweetness.
Hold on, let me have a look at this. So each 250 ml serving contains 200 200 kilojoules, whatever it is, 47 kcal, so 2%, 0% fat, 0% saturates, 11 grams of sugar, that's 12%. It's got the sad yellow marking. It's like green, sad yellow color.
So this bottle's got 22 grams of sugar in it.
How big is your bottle?
I've got a 500 ml bottle. And there's 2
Oh, I do
servings
have
in a
500
bottle.
ml. It just says it because it says each
22 grams of
250
sugar in
ml
there, love.
I mean, I'm still gonna drink it. But I understand why when someone said hangover cure, I was like,
oh yeah, because that'll just get you going, won't it?
Yes.
Right, let's have a look at this beer then.
All right, how does it smell in comparison?
It smells like orange. It smells way more orangey.
No, mine has a bit of bubblegum, but not a massive. It's not like.
It's not the same. To me, it's not the same.
Mine are similar, but this one's a bit more subdued.
Do you know what mine smells like?
What?
Mine smells like fizzy orange vitamins.
Oh,
like that you put in, like the vitamins that you put in,
like the effervescent. What? Yeah, I know.
Halib
exactly.
orange. That's what it smells like. It smells like halib orange.
See, I feel like for me,
And
I get that now that you've said it.
Oh, but because furniture polish, because it's like orange oil.
Fair. But this smells a bit orangey. I think this smells more orangey than it does bubblegum. There's like a hint of bubblegum in the background. And I feel like this, to me, the if you're not watching the video, the Iron Brew sour smells like the Iron Brew to me, except it's that, but just toned down by quite a lot. But then when you said what you said, I'm like, yeah, I could see that as well.
Yeah.
And furniture polish. What? All right, let's see.
Sorry, Felicity, we love you, really.
I know, and to me, I think it smells pretty accurate.
Tastes like it smells. Getting a bit more bubblegum. Orange oil.
I don't know how to feel. Polish. I genuinely don't know how to feel right now. I'm taking a moment to process this.
It's not my favourite Vault City in the world.
I don't get enough bubblegum in it.
Yeah.
I need more bubblegum.
Like after trying the Iron Brew right out of the bottle to that, it's not quite the same.
I think it tastes more orange.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like compare, because it's not just straight orange, but I'm trying to like think of what else is in it.
It's got a nice tartness to it though. Wouldn't expect anything less from Vault City.
Well, there's like this odd flavor that's mixed in with the orange that I can't describe, that I can see how it's trying to emulate the Iron Brew. Like I can see where it's trying to do that.
Yeah.
And I think if it had a little bit more actual like bubblegum flavor to it, I'd be like, yeah, because that's what I love about Iron Brew is the bubblegum. And there's not a noticeable amount of bubblegum in it for me to be like, yeah. But then to be fair, it's meant to be like similar to, like, obviously it's not a collaboration with Iron Brew. We're very clear about that.
Yeah.
And it's probably just trying to get some of the flavors from it. But I think for me, Iron Brew is most distinct for the bubblegum.
Yeah.
So that's what would have tipped it over for me, I think.
Yeah. I think if you like orangey things, I think you'll enjoy this one. It's not for me.
I wouldn't even say like a straight orange. Like I would almost even say like a clementine.
Yeah.
Like it's quite, I know it sounds really pedantic, but
I'm getting Lucas flashbacks. I can't do it.
I don't know. I don't, like, for me, I've no stake in that because I
I
don't
think this is
know.
why I don't like orange flavors in general because of Lucozade.
I think it does to me taste like once you kind of said like the orange vitamin that you like drop in.
Orange.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting. But it's very like I said, very a clementine orange specifically. Oh yeah, I would have liked more bubblegum.
Yeah.
For me, it's drinkable because I don't have a bad experience. I'm like, I totally empathize because it's like I got food poisoning from McDonald's when I was like 5, and I don't eat McDonald's. Like I was up all night throwing up. I know that's a negative time for me, so I just can't even. Yeah, no. Unless I absolutely had to because I don't want to be difficult. And then I'm like, I'll get some chips.
it's a good sour. Like it's got a nice tang to it. I think you could even potentially use it as like a gateway sour because it's not incredibly sour. The flavors are just not for me.
I think it's a sessionable level.
Yeah, definitely.
5.5%, and it's not like you said, it's not an overpowering tart like sour that they could.
And it's not one of their like thick boys.
Yeah, it's not thick.
Where it's just like you're drinking a smoothie. Like you could kind of ease somebody in with this, I reckon.
It's still like a good bit of mouthfeel to it. Like,
yeah.
I feel like there's
it's not thin.
No, but I mean, I think there's like sometimes you get a sour that will be like really thin and really acidic and like.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Like you're not getting heartburn from this.
No.
So it's not too, in my opinion, it's not too acidic, and I'm like, I don't feel I'm gonna go get indigestion now.
Yeah.
And there is a good amount of body. It's just I do want more bubblegum. But yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
I won't be drinking Iron Brew again though.
I thought we'd end on that one just because I had no idea that you didn't have Iron Brew before or anything, but I thought we'd end on that one just because it's not quite a collaboration, but it's just a bit of fun. So yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, lots of other breweries have done similar. So my favourite, I think it was probably UnBarred's blue raspberry tea sour. So I think that's for me. What about yours?
I am struggling to choose one between all three, actually. I really enjoyed the Yingling. I really enjoyed the UnBarred. I really enjoyed the Aunt Bessie's still. I think they're all just really good.
I think for me, it would be the UnBarred is definitely like the top for me, and I think that would be quite, if we were doing Untapped ratings, for me it would be quite close to a 5 because it's for me it's really good. It's exactly what I want from what's on, exactly as it says on the tin. And then I think maybe the Aunt Bessie's potentially. Like it's difficult because I don't dislike this Vault City. Like it's drinkable to me, but I felt like the Jam Rollie Poli one, that type of fruit is more my alley of fruit. Like those type of fruits. So maybe Jam Rollie Poli, then Vault City, then the Yingling for me.
Fair.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, I mean, this is not the first company, like Vault City is not the first company to do like beers and tribute. You get, I think, like so many breweries do lots of chocolate bar themed ones because those just, I think, are the easiest ones to replicate and sell, easiest ones to get flavors of adjunct wise. So maybe we'll have to do another one again where we where we do a comparison, because this is interesting to do side by side.
This is good.
Cool. So Jo, if people want to talk to you about your hatred of Lucozade,
about my Lucozade PTSD,
your Lucozade PTSD, where can they trigger you?
You can go and talk to me about Lucozade and how much I don't like it at A Woman's Brew on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. That's pretty much our page. For that, we're gradually converting that into the podcast page. So come let us know what kind of beer collaborations you'd like us to look at in the future. Are there particular ones about chocolate bars and things you'd like us to do? Let us know on those channels. Or you can generally find me hanging out at my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning. And that is on Facebook, mostly Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. Or you can come to my website, see what else we do, come and see what classes are happening, see what beer related things are there to help you learn about beer at the website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. And you can email us lovebeerlearning@gmail.com, and we will currently take emails for the podcast there. Tori, if they want to come and talk to you about American Screwballs, where can they find you?
Yeah, do you want to come talk to me about... Sorry, I've just done a situation where I've just poured a little bit of Iron Brew in my remaining, because I want to know what happens if I put the real Iron Brew in the Iron Brew Sour. Will that give me the bubblegum I want? If you want to come find out how this experiment went, because I'm not going to tell you on here, you're going to have to come talk to me, I guess. Or if you want to talk to me about American ice cream trucks, you can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_Hopsom.
So on that note, we're
going to go try this.
Cheers.
Cheers.